so last week I started doing some sheet metal work. Started cutting off and getting ready. One of the other things, you can see that there in the bottom of that floor support, I had to cut all of that out because that was thin Swiss cheese metal. So I cut that out and I'm going to repair it. I'm going to put a cap over it and weld it across the bottom. Alright, so that's enough of that. Let's jump right in and let's get going on figuring out this sheet metal. Alright, all that video that was shot previously till now was last weekend. Son came in and we had to do brake work on the back of his little pickup truck. So we're back on it, and I'm going to show you what we did off camera. I actually was able to get that piece fabricated as best as I can fabricate, and we'll show it to you. Whew, sun's brightened right in my eyes. Alright, well there it is in all its glory. It's not perfect by any means, and I do not call myself a fabricator, but will it do the job that I want it to do? Yes, it will. So with that, we're going to get into trying to get the floor support where I cut the center out of it, and we're going to work on trying to get that piece fit to that floor support, because that actually has to go in before this goes in, because this edge will have to weld to that. So let's get going. Alright, well this is the cap that I made to go over the floor support. See how it's built like cut like a channel, and it'll slip right up over it, and I can weld across the front and the back and the sides. But let me show you what part of the problem is. Part of the problem is this floor support. This is the front, this is the frame, and this is the front of the car, and this is where the floor support ends, right up underneath the driver's seat right here. That floor support comes back and has a swag in it. It actually curves up, so I have to cut some reliefs in that piece for it to be able to follow that line as I tack it on and bend it into position to be able to go up. The swag I have here on this piece of paper is actually more exaggerated, but I wanted to be able to show up on camera. So, but that's the problem. This piece will go up underneath the bottom like that, and will need to follow this line. So I'm going to cut some relief cuts in the sides so that it can form as I tack it on, push it up, and get it into place. So there you go. Right or wrong, we're fixing to weld on our first piece. Let's get into it. U-G-L-Y, you ain't got no alibi. Alright, so that piece is ugly welded to the car. Not going to make a bunch of excuses. I will give you tell you what's going on with me though. I have a really bad cataract in my right eye, and I have one that's going to eventually need something done to it in my left eye. This right eye, I'll be setting up to get surgery, hopefully first part of 22. So what's happening is when I put the shield down and I hit the trigger and I go to weld, it's so dark and this eye is screwed up, I can't make out the weld puddle. The other factor is I've really never welded overhead with this flux core welder. Everything's been top down, you know, you drag and go, but not in an overhead situation like this. I was able to finally, after wrestling it, I got it welded to the car. But you know, I know those sound like a bunch of excuses. They're not. They're it's a reason. And if I don't get better after I have surgery, well then it's going to be all on me at that point. All I can say is it's been a good hot minute since I've had this welder out. It's way back before the cataract was messing with my eye. So all I can say is I hope that the surgery improves my vision to where I can see the weld puddle through the hood again. The piece may be ugly welded, but it is solid, believe it or not. It is actually really well attached to the car. I looked over on the inside of where I welded, and I can see that I'm getting penetration into the what I'm welding to. So there's no doubt in my mind that it is well adhered to the car. I appreciate you coming by the Real World Garage. We're real happy to be out here and finally be back on the Comet. So until next time, why don't you go out and watch another video on my channel right now.